Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to our February table talk. How is everybody?
Good morning. Doing good.
Everybody good? Jason, you're good? We're missing one of our colleagues, but we're filling in. Um, Jason, I think you're muted. So welcome to our February table talk. Our topic this month is it's healthy relationships, right?
Hmm.
Talking about what is a healthy relationship, a couple of key points to healthy relationships. Um,
Yeah. As you know, February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So we're going to have a guest speaker for this table talk and next table talk to go over some topics and some good information and points to share with you guys. So
mhm. You want
without
to
further
introduce our?
ado, we love to introduce you guys to Miss Karen Kolb. Thank you for joining us
Hi,
today.
everyone.
Good
Miss
morning, Karen.
Karen?
How are
Thank
you?
thank you
Good,
for
thank you.
joining us. I know healthy relationships. It could be a touchy, or it could be a tough talk, but what I guess what we hope to gain is some more knowledge and resources, but we want to talk about what is a healthy relationship or what makes a healthy relationship. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you
first,
want to
sorry, I'm
introduce
sorry.
yourself.
Let me backtrack. Go ahead, Miss Karen. You want to introduce yourself? Give us a little background on you before we start.
Sure. My name is Karan Kolb. I'm a band member from Rincon Indian Reservation, and I work here at Indian Health Council. Um, this year is my 30th year here. I'm the director of social services now, but I started as a prevention caseworker, um, and then court worker, manager, and now director. So have a long career, beautiful career here at Indian Health Council with my family here. So good to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And so I'm gonna jump right into it, right? What is okay? What is a healthy relationship?
Oh my gosh, there's so much to that. And when I see couples in our community that are together and well, I always and often ask them, what do you guys do? What's the secret? And
Mm,
a lot of times, they tell me they talk. It's communication. Always communication, respect, giving each other space. One of the elders said they agreed early in their marriage that they would never go to bed angry with each other. They talked it out until they had to stay up all morning long. They talked it out until they worked it through. So I think communication is the biggest. Respect for each other, giving each other space. Um, it really gives a good, healthy foundation. And I think a lot of people, when you talk about communication, arguments, people argue the wrong way. They argue
mhm,
in a way that there has to be a winner. I have to be right. You're wrong. It's okay to both people. There doesn't have to be a winner. They argue like they're lawyers. You know what you see on TV that, and lawyers want to do one thing for their client, and sometimes not even for their client. They just want to win. And so
mhm,
when you communicate with a spouse, it's not about winning. It's about the content of the argument, whatever the argument's about. And it's okay to not win or not have to win, but to have different opinions about anything. But when it comes to child rearing, there has to be that compromise when parents argue, hopefully away from the kids and not loud. You communicate, and it's called an argument. It's not fighting and being loud. And I think that's where we go wrong when we aren't right or they're not seeing it our way. Um, then it escalates, and then it escalates to an argument, and then there might be violence. And that's what our DV programs are all about,
mm.
communicating, respecting, and having healthy relationships that don't include hurtful words and physical violence, because words can actually hurt more than, a punch in the arm. So we have to learn how to communicate in a way that there doesn't have to be a winner, I think.
So I also wanted to touch base on something you talked about. You talked about respect, right? A
Yes.
relationship is not necessarily a couple relationship. It could be a mother-daughter, a sibling, right?
Yeah.
What is
Co-parenting.
a parenting? What is a
Yeah.
definition of respect? That's something you talked about in a healthy relationship.
And a relationship between a parent and a child.
Yeah.
Some parents don't think that it's if the parent is wrong, they need to apologize to their child. So and part of that communication, and it's okay to say I was wrong. And what I should have said was, but follow it up with those examples, I think. And having that respect for each other is giving that space, being still, you're able to have your individuality in a relationship. You don't have to just be one way, her way or his way. And relationships come in, it's kind of like ice cream comes in different flavors, and it comes in different, sometimes there's nuts and chewy things and sweet things and sprinkles on top. But it's every relationship is different. But if you're really going to work on a relationship, you have to work on that respect and communication and giving everybody that space, that personal space, especially for teens. When we're teaching our youth how to become into these relationships, we need to sit down and talk and let them know that, about consent. Consent's a big thing about, you guys remember the whole campaign of no means no? Well, it is. No means no. And we have to teach the kids that, especially in the world of cyber communication, electronic communication, because people don't realize that that communication, sexting, is a form of abuse. And young people can get into very abusive relationships just through their electronics. So we need to give them those tools that they need, like starting slow. Don't jump into anything real fast. Making sure that they know what your boundaries are, and make it very clear. Start out with friends and groups. Don't go alone right away until you know that you can, that your limits are clear, and just don't rush into things. They got such a long life ahead of them. They don't need to jump in right away with one person. And if somebody's not giving them that space to go to their family or somewhere alone, that's a sign. If you got somebody wrapped around your arm real tight, and you can't go with your friends and everything, it's all about me, that could be
a warning sign.
Yes, a warning sign.
So I wanted to read to you, I mean, I don't want to go off topic, but I wanted to read to you a little definition of respect, which I think is important. Respect means to care about somebody or someone and treat them in a way you honor their feelings, needs, and their rights.
Personal rights.
Their personal rights.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you guys think? Jason, Marissa, what do you think?
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the influences of individuals that are basically, all our kids are on phones nowadays. And it's when you're getting involved in, you talked a little bit about the warning signs, and you get involved with this individual, and it's this puppy love, and and this individual starts wanting to look to your phone, and so that's a warning sign there, and it's not respecting your boundaries. Right. So that's a red flag for those individuals.
And for individuals too, if your partner destroys your phone, throws it down, cracks it in half, rips it out of the wall, that's an offense. That you're in a domestic violence relationship, and you got to, get help right away. Learn how to communicate with that partner. There's therapy. We have so many programs out here now, from individual tribes, like a Valika program, which is the Lucenio word for butterfly, which is a great name for a DV program because it's about change. And you don't go into relationships with everything perfect. You have to work things out by talking things through.
Absolutely.
And always work on that. Always work on having that time together and time away as well. And being able to be with your friends and family or go to ceremony with each other or alone. You know, those are good signs of healthy relationships.
Yeah, and then we had talked about on our podcast about, you know, being raised with, you know, your parents, and what kind of respect did your father or your mother or your brother or your sister show to each other, you know, because you're going to learn from that, and then you're going to take that and either continue that cycle, or you're going to break the cycle and say, well, that's not the respect that I want to have respect for people.
Right. You're modeling everything you do. You're modeling for your children. And it's almost a guarantee that if you fight, as a parent around your children and they see that, or they're in the other room and they hear it, you're going to have daughters that are going to seek out men that hurt them. You know, just hearing that,
yeah. And a lot of times they're like, well, he loves me, or she loves me, you know, and it goes both ways, male or female. It could be unhealthy in either way, but he does that because he loves me, or she does that because they love me. You know, there's
such a jealousy.
Yeah, there's such a confusion on that maybe it was, you learned that in the home where, oh, my dad respected my mom that way, or my mother respected my dad in that way, and that's how they respect each other.
So let me ask a question. I mean, we got a little bit off topic, but is this what our youngsters are seeing as a healthy relationship? I'm going back to you, Miss Karen, you know, because if sometimes our youngsters, that's what they see, sometimes that's the same cycle we follow, right?
Right. And the same with good relationships. If you see your parents teasing each other and you know, giving a kiss on the cheek and greeting each other and cooking together and sharing responsibilities and communicating, that's a good healthy family where they're going to seek that kind of relationship later on too. And I don't mean to pick on the girls, the little boys too. If they see a father hitting, they're going to hit their spouse later on in life possibly, or they go completely opposite and say that's what I'm not going to do, because they're seeking help and they're seeking different relationships.
So let's touch on something else that you talked about, which is trust. How important is trust? I mean, these all things are awesome, like building blocks that we need, right? We can't have trust if we don't have respect, right?
That's true.
So
yeah, and the trust goes in many different forms. You know, it's not about, if you go out alone with me, I don't trust that you're going to see somebody else, and you know, because somebody might be insecure about what they're bringing to the relationship. Trust is trusting with finances, trusting that you're going to go out and you're going to be safe, you're going to drive the car right, you're going to you know, do what you said you do and come back. And so trust is it's a small world, but it's a big topic. You have to trust in yourself as well, that you know, and they confuse trust and jealousy a lot of the times, and that can lead down to a wrong road as well. So trust is key in everything that we do, with our spouses, our relationships, our friends, our family, our children. So we need to have that. It's just like respect.
Respect. Also, you also gotta, I mean, you touched on a good topic. You gotta respect yourself, right? Yes. You gotta have that same respect. You also gotta have that trust. I love that.
And know where to get the help.
Where I know in a little bit you also do parenting classes over there on your site, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to throw that plug in real quick before we move on to the next.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Tribal Family Services, our main foundation, of course, was always at the Indian Child Welfare Act. And and representing tribes in state court for our families to make sure that they're getting the right services and reunification of the families. But we really started our programs with prevention programs. So we had we got more programs for, well, domestic violence program. We have Peace Between Partners. We also have My Two Aunties program now, which is two social services navigators that help during pregnancy. And they also do parenting classes. All the staff are trained in parent classes, such as from Happy Child to Parent Project to Loving Solutions to Family Spirit to IWALK, which is Indigenous Ways of Knowing. And IWALK is a parenting skills class that takes our language and our Indigenous ways and aligning them with parenting skills, like being organized in your home, compared to basketry and how we make baskets, and using stories, the stories of the two wolves about communication. Which wolf are you going to feed? You're going to feed the angry wolf and stay angry. You're going to feed the peaceful wolf and be peaceful and communicate. So all we're all trained on all those different curriculums for whatever anybody needs. There used to be a stigma to parenting where you were court ordered to go to parenting, but not anymore. All great parents go to parenting and contribute to the groups and make friends with other parents. And it's a beautiful thing when they all come together. And that's another thing, when you have relationships, you're moving from a single relationship, dating relationship, to a marriage relationship. You need to find other couples as well in those relationships and make more family members, make more friends. So we talk a lot about that in all of our parenting classes. But yeah, big plug for tribal families.
I wanted to throw that in there. So something else when we were talking earlier, let's go back to our healthy relationships. Communication. You talked about communication. It is a big part of healthy relationship, right?
Yes.
I just want to add too, how hard is it, in our Native communities to let our guard down and be vulnerable to, conversations that might, make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that's where the trust comes in, to be vulnerable and trust your partner that what you tell them, they're not going to put out on Facebook or tell their family, and then the family is going to judge you. So it takes a lot of time to have that trust. But yeah, it's something that we keep our guard up because of many things, and it goes back to colonialism. It's the trust of systems. It's the trust of agencies, even the trust of a therapist. And it's a big jump. It's a giant step, and but sometimes it's a chance you have to take, and trust somebody else. You know how we are. We kind of sit back and we watch, and
so we have a question.
Good.
Is jumping into another relationship after a breakup and not allowing time for healing, taking baggage from the last relationship into the next?
Wow, what a great question. Yeah, it could be, if you let it. You have to have that self-preservation and self-healing. There's no standard of time how much you should wait, but you really need to, as individuals, and I'm men or women, no matter what age you are, really look into yourself and why you were in that bad relationship in the first place. What led you there? Are you a person that trusts everybody and thinks that everybody can change, and that, yeah, that's a bad person, but I can change him. I know I can. That's a recipe for disaster too. But always, having that time, that alone time, and figuring things out is always healing. But sometimes, I don't know, Mr. Right sometimes shows up at odd times, or Miss Right.
We also have another comment. Is it a sign of weakness to forgive someone who violates your trust?
I don't think it's a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of your maturity, that I may forgive you for what you did, but just know that I will never start a relationship with you again. I've moved on. And that right there could turn into a fight, but you don't let it. A fight takes two people, and if one person doesn't fight, there's no fight. You can always walk away and be safe. Great question.
A fight is it's a tough word, right?
Yeah.
Even argument. It goes back to that communication, being able to express yourself.
Yeah.
How
But
can
an
I say?
argument isn't always negative. An argument
Yeah,
can be positive. You can argue about how much cream you're going to put into the coffee.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it also goes back to how it's expressed, right?
Exactly.
Let's take that cream, right?
Yeah.
I
Or you
could
can
come
have
off.
your cream. I prefer not to have cream.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say is how you express yourself is important,
I
right?
think even more so is once you're going to express that, how you're going to deliver it.
Yeah. Body language.
Your
Body
deliverance
language is very important.
Yeah.
That is, Jason, I like that. That's a big point. Delivery is important, on anything. Body language, how you deliver it.
Especially if we're in the midst of a scuffle or an argument, or a lot of times it's about money. You know what I mean? And just to go back, about the individuals that asked the question also, I think it's important. A lot of times we get lonely and we want to be with someone, and I think it's super important to ground yourself, to take time for yourself, and weigh out your options. Maybe it's something within yourself that needs to be fixed. Maybe it's something that it's a learning experience that I don't want to be treated this way anymore, so I'm gonna fix it. And then how do I fix it? And we have those options here at Indian Health for you in any way you can. And Karen, you don't have to be signed up for the parenting. You could just ask questions, correct?
You can give us a call right here at the clinic. Ask
there it is.
Family Services, and we will get you to the right one depending on what your needs are. If you have teenagers, we're not going to send you to the prenatal classes. If if you have, we even have a class for out of control teenagers that's called the Parent Project, and it's not tough love, but it's using positive influences and getting the teen on a right track. And it's about timeout. It doesn't work on teens. So you take everything away for a short period of time, and that acronym turns into T-spot. Take everything away for a short period of time. Your cell phone, even their light bulb, their door if you have to. So we teach that kind of parenting to be the parenting to have the control again, but in a good way, a positive way. But Jason, I love what you said about the relationships and taking that time. And it kind of goes back to the question in the chat. And I remember my dad used to say something to me, and he would tell me, know where you stand in life, in relationships, whatever the situation is. Know where you stand, and then stand there. Make your stand and make that decision that nobody's going to disrespect me, and I'm going to get into a relationship where there is that communication and that respect.
Respecting yourself and trusting yourself that you're going to do the right thing. But you got to give yourself, you got to take the time. But in the midst of it, I mean, I'm in love, are you
in love, or are you in lust?
There's so many questions. No one's gonna want me. I have 2 kids. Yes, there's ways out. There's people that like Karen said, there's someone out there that's gonna love you for who you are.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen right away,
that's okay.
It's okay.
Your life is this long, and what might be happening is right here. You got a long way to go. It's way over there. So, there's always hope and programs here for you.
So let's recap real quick because we have 5 minutes, and I wanted to give you time to do another showcase. I don't know if you wanted to present on the coloring book, but there's a lot of parts that go into a healthy relationship. We just touched the tip of it by covering, some of the top tier or some of the most important ones. They're all important. I don't want to take away from any of the other aspects of a healthy relationship. We were covering the three. We were covering respect, trust, and communication, right? There's a lot more that we could cover. There's a lot more that you cover at the parenting classes. But I wanted to give you this opportunity if you wanted to showcase any of your programs, your coloring books.
Sure. Well, I do want to give a plug to our local DV programs out here. We have Strong Hearted Native Women's Coalition. We have some information in the box below us. Also, the Avelica program, they have many, many programs. They also have therapeutic services, little acorns from kids from 7 to 11, young Yawish Women's Circle. They have a men's circle. They support the senior volleyball. So a lot of family and communication. San Pasqual, Santa Isabel, they all have their own DV programs. Kauai Consortium. So there's many, many programs. So we have choices where to get help. And you don't have to be in a domestic violence situation to get any of this help. It's just healthiness and relationship and building ourselves as people. The other thing we have is this coloring book. And it's a healthy relationship coloring book. And I have to give kudos to former employee Tanya Fonseca. We had a very small, short grant that was on communication, healthy lifestyles, right in the middle of COVID. And so what we did instead is we developed this coloring book, and it has a lot of it's an adult coloring book, and it's all about communication and healthy lifestyles. And it's a coloring book that looks like people like us. We also have worksheets in that coloring book about coping skills and communication. And so if it is free to anybody who would like it. It was a Cal OES grant and from Tanya Perez. And so culture is very important, and culture is key also in your self-respect and also communication and everything that we do. So that's an image of Tanya, beautiful young lady, and she did a great job on this coloring book. So we wanted to give something to the community that they can actually use, and we even have a word search puzzle on culture. So just contact us here at Indian Health if you would like one. You know our number, 760-749-1410. We're at extension 5321, or just ask the operator for Tribal Family Services.
Thank you. Karen, thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of really great information, and we never want to leave our audience without a question. If you had a question, feel free to you don't want to ask in the chat, feel free to get a hold of any one of us, and we'll get you to the right department. You're not alone in this. Right. You're not alone. There's help out there, and we all need each other. At some point in our lives, we want to ask, do you think this is unhealthy, or do you think this is healthy? Yeah. And it's okay to
notice those red flags as well.
Yes, definitely it's okay to ask.
Or you can help a niece or a nephew or somebody. Silence is a killer. So if you see something, give people the help that they need, or give them, the path to go to. But the services are for everyone.
Also, if you don't want to come here, you just want to use us as a resource, we can help you with that resource. Yep. We can help you with other areas, other local resources.
Yep.
On the parenting class, Ms. Kay, I just wanted to say anybody could benefit. I mean, we could fine tune our skills to help us with anything. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that you're having issues, just to get more tools in the toolbox, to help.
That's it. And even with us as a staff, when we teach parenting classes and we have them ongoing, we're a better staff. We're saying thank you more. So, and we always learn things from people in the classes, and it's just a really great group to be in. It's a lot of fun.
So, Ms. K, last 30 seconds, you wanted to leave us with a quote before we finalize and close?
Yeah, know where you stand and stand there.
Ms. K, thank you for your participation.
Yes,
Everybody
thank
out there,
you.
thank you for joining us today. Tune
Thank
in
you.
our next table talk, where we will continue our talk on healthy relationships.
Yep, and we also have women's groups here too that we're going to be starting probably back up again in March, where we do beading. We're going to be doing some quilting, different activities while we talk. And so you know how we like to be using our hands while we discuss things. So I just want to say thank you to you guys. I've seen you guys at work and how much work you put into this. The Prevention Early Intervention team here at Indian Health Council, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
know,
you.
Tune in next time.
just real quick, we want you to all join into our new podcast, What About Life? So that we got a lot of really exciting things going on with that. We are very excited about some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about. So there's a lot of different platforms that you can get on. You can get on our Facebook Live. You can go on our YouTube to check out our podcast. So check it out.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Table talk.
See you at the next round.